All right, so you don't have to copy that part, okay? This is just a quick summary of what you need to do. That's all it is.
We learned that a chemical reaction occurs between two or more substances called reactants.
So what do you notice right away, right? Now we have two substances, but one of them is missing the coefficient. This is where it's getting a little bit more tricky.
Well, in this lesson, we are going to focus on determining the coefficient for a particular reactant based on how many of the atoms for particular elements that we need to have in those reactants. Well, let's look at this example. We have two reactants, 1, 2. And the task is determine the coefficient. Notice water has a coefficient of 2, and this one, we don't have the coefficient. So what coefficient will have 11 oxygen atoms? The whole entire thing has.
All right, so I'm going to show you the shortcut first, okay? Basically, do mental math before you look up here, and I'm going to show you how to use math application using variable. So first thing first, we have the oxygen on both sides, right? One of them is missing a coefficient, so you cannot do anything with that yet. But what we want to do is we want to have 11 oxygen. But for sure, how many do we know about the oxygen on this side? This side has how many oxygen already? 2. So that means for sure that we can take off this 2, right? You start with the one where we know the coefficient. So what is 11 minus 2? 11 minus 2? 9. Okay, so we have 9 left. Now we can kind of cover this whole thing. Cover that up. Now we just focus on this one. So we have 9 total over here, right? So here you have 3. So we go back to the same thing we did before. What is 9 divided by 3? What's 9 divided by 3? 3. Or you can ask yourself, hey, 3 times what will give me 9? Which is 3. And then you plug in the coefficient and you count like we did yesterday on yesterday's quiz. See how easy that is? But let me show you the mathematical way of doing using variable.
11 oxygen atoms, okay? 11O. And once you determine the coefficient, you're going to count how many of atoms for each element from all the reactants above. So let's look at this. Well, we're going to focus on oxygen. Well, in this case, water, right here, the coefficient 2, 2 times 1, that gives us 2 of oxygen right there. Then over here, we have what? We have 3 right there. So we can say that this question mark can be represented by the letter X. So we can say that this is 3X right there. And when we combine the two reactions together, what do we need to have? 11 oxygen. So we can take that, this plus this equal to 11. So if that's the case, 3x plus 2 equal to 11. Can we solve for x? Yes.
Right? See how nicely we put into an algebra equation? Right? We just use x as a question mark. So now you'll solve
we minus 2 on both sides. That cancel out. And what do we have here? That gives us a total of 9. And that 9 is equal to 3x. And we're going to divide both sides by 3 right there. And what happened is the 3 cancel out equal to x. And 9 divided by 3 give us what? 3. So 3 is equal to x. So in this case, this is going to be 3. Now we're going to count the number of atoms for each element.
All right, let's see if I remember all of this, okay? So based on the solutions from the video, so copy down while you're watching the video, we set the equation to solve the coefficient. Basically, 3x plus 2 equal to 11. Now, let's do this without using solving for x. We know, right, we need 11 oxygen, but we only have how many from 2H2O? Well, that's only 2. And then, of course, 11 minus 2, that means we need 9 more, right? So we have 9 more left to go. Then we have, see what KNO3? We have 3 of oxygen in there, right? So let's see, hold on, here, we have 3 right there. And then here, if we take 9 divided by 3, we get ourselves 3. Or you can ask yourself, 3 times what number will give me 9? The answer is 3. See that?
Below. Potassium, since this is 3, so 3 times 1 give us 3. And for nitrogen, 3 times 1 here give us 3. And for oxygen,
And this is the same thing we did yesterday, right? The same thing we did yesterday.
We have here 3 times 3 give us 9, but that's not the only place where we find oxygen. Over here we also have 2 times 1 give us 2 oxygen. So what is 9 plus 2? That gives us 11 oxygen, which is exactly what we're looking for right there. And then for hydrogen, well, 2 times 2, that gives us 4 hydrogen. So here we have a total of 11 oxygen atoms. So therefore we can prove.
Any question about any particular number that I need to go over? Okay. If you have a question about where do I get this number, how do I get that, this is a perfect time to ask for it. Okay, we're going to do two more problems.
This coefficient must be 3 to get ourselves a total of 11 oxygen atoms from both of these reactants. Let's try another one. Here I have 2 reactants, and you notice it looks a lot more complicated.
Let's try it first before we watch the video, right? So that way we can see we can do it by ourselves. So what is the element that we focus on right now? Which one we're looking for? Sodium, right? Do we care about the other element? No, we only care about sodium. So we find sodium. Do we have sodium over here? Nope, there's nothing there. But we have sodium right here, okay? So you kind of cover this up. Ignore this whole entire thing. I don't care because it does have sodium. So here we have 2 sodium. So we want 4. So 2 times what will give me 4 sodium? 2. So guess what the answer here going to be? 2. There you go. See?
Right?
Very good.
But here it doesn't have a coefficient. And that's because I need to know that this must be a 1 there. The underlying part, that's where it's going to be the question mark going to be. What is that coefficient going to be right there? Well, again, determine what the coefficient will be in order to have what? 4 sodium. And again, count the atoms again for each element once we're done. And the question is this: 4 sodium. Sodium is Na. We don't have any sodium over here, so that is 0 sodium. But what we notice here, we have 2 Na. See that 2 right there? So again, we're going to represent this question mark is always equal to x, right? So we can say that this side right here, we have 2 times x, okay? And when we combine them together, what do we need to have for the total of this side? Well, we have 0 plus 2x equal to what? 4. And I'm going to read right over here. 0 plus 2x equal to 4. Well, if that's the case, 0 we can just ignore it. Can we solve for x, which is right here? Well, divide both sides by 2, and that cancels out. And x is equal to what? 2. So in this case, our x is equal to 2. So this right here is equal to 2. Now the next step is just count it. And of course, some of you already use your common sense math skill already know. That has to be 2 because over here has no sodium. This is just a way for you to prove it mathematically. Well,
right, you see how doing the mental math is really good with addition and multiplication and a little bit of common sense, right? Really, really, really easy from there.
Sodium, we know that 2 times 2 give us 4. And that's exactly what we're looking for. And over here we have no sodium, so the total must be 4. This is what we want. And then for carbon, we have carbon here. 2 times 1 right there give us 2. And no carbon here, that's calcium right there.
All right, let's see if I remember this. So we have our formula, 0 plus 2x equal to 4, okay? Now let's do this without the formula, okay? We need a total of 4 sodium, but we have 2 in here, okay? So 4 divided by 2 give you 2. The coefficient is 2. Now we have 4. Now we have 4 sodium. There you go. Very good. Any question? One last one.
And then for oxygen, we have what? This is a little bit tricky. 2 times 3, what is that? That is 6 right there. But over here, we also have oxygen. We also have 2 times 3, that gives us 6. So what is 6 plus 6? So oxygen is 6 plus 6 gives us 12. And then for calcium, that's a 1 right there. 1 times 1 is just 1. And then we have nitrogen. Over here, we have nitrogen right here. 2 times what? 2 times 1. Well, in this case, it's just going to be 2. That's a sodium. That's not a nitrogen. So we are done. Now let's try another problem together. This case is more complicated. The same thing, 2 reactants.
All right, let's see if we can do this without watching the video. So what element do we focus on? Which element? How many oxygen do we need to have? 29. So we're not going to tackle the one there's no coefficient, right? For sure, we have how many oxygen over here? We have 2 H2O. 2 times 1 give us what? 2. So what is 29 minus 2? 27. That means the total over here must be 27, right? So here we have 3 times 3. What's that? 9. So 9 times what number will give us 27? 3. Or you can take 27 divided by 9, which gives you 3 as well. See how easy that is? Right? So take the time to do it.
We have the coefficient for water there, and we're looking for this coefficient. And in this case, we want 29 oxygen atoms. So the total must be 29, okay? And let's go back and look at oxygen. Over here, we have a 1. And 1 times 2, what's that going to be? Well, that's just going to be 2. But over here, we have oxygen right here. And we notice that there are 3 of 3 oxygen. What is 3 times 3? Well, 3 times 3 gives us 9. If that's the case, this must be, again, the question mark is equal to x. So this is x right here. So what we're going to have here is 9x, right? And combine them together, we have 2 plus 9x equal to what? 29. Now, can we solve for x? Of course we can do that. We're going to minus 2 on both sides, And what we have here is going to be 9x, okay? And that's equal to 27. And then we divide both sides by 9. That cancel out. X is equal to what? 3. So therefore, this must be 3 right there. And let's prove. Well, for example, in this case, let's go down all the way to oxygen. Over here, I have 2 times 1. That gives us 2 oxygen, okay? So we have 2 already. And over here, we have 3 times 9. That's 27. So right here, 3 times 9 is 27. What's 2 plus 27? Give us 29.
All right, based on the solution from the video, we set up the equation 2 plus 9x equal to 29. We need 29 oxygen, but we only have how many? 2 oxygen from 2H2O. So we need 27 more, and I gave you the equation there. Then we have what? We have 9 oxygen coming from here, okay? So in this case, 27 divided by 9 gives you 3.
This is exactly what we want. And then aluminum, again, 3 times 1 gives us 3. Nitrogen, ooh, over here I have 3 times 1, right there, right? 3 times 1 is 3, but then we multiply by 3, that gives us 9. And then for hydrogen, we have 2 times 2, that gives us 4. So that is how...